can you send me that link? And you were like, sure, yeah, I'll send it over to you. I think one of the biggest things for me was like, you worry if there maybe is gonna be like maybe a little bit of judgment.
Yeah.
Because then you're gonna be like, well, why am I having to send you the link again?
Mm-hmm.
And you know, one of the beautiful things was you just sent me the link.
Mm-hmm.
And it took some of the pressure off from feeling like judged because maybe I didn't do it the first time you sent it to me.
Right.
And I just remember, man, filling out that questionnaire and then seeing that like the next steps, like I was approved to go to the next steps.
Mm-hmm.
And I kid you not, I did that link maybe like 30 minutes later.
Wow.
Somebody from university called me. I'm a nurse coordinator and I see that you you filled out the link.
Mm-hmm.
You think you could come in tomorrow?
Wow.
And that's kind of what started the whole journey.
Mm-hmm.
Is that, you know, being brave enough to when maybe you don't take advantage of an opportunity the first time, you go back for it again.
Man, Sean, that's called having serious faith. And welcome everybody to the 9th floor, because today we're going to talk about faith. And you know, Sean had a lot of faith, you know, to donate a kidney. And Sean, let me ask you, man, you know, in your prior experiences in life, what do you think has led you up to this point for you to have so much faith to believe that, hey, if I give this kidney, you know, my life isn't going to be the same, or, you know, I'm not going to have any medical problems, or, you know, there are some things that happen in our lives, man, that builds us up, you know, as if you had, you know, exercised and prepared for this time. You know, God had prepared you for this moment throughout your experiences in life. Tell me about a few of those things, man.
You know, I'll say the biggest one was my wife.
Mm-hmm.
Because you know, it's rare that in our adult life, we just make a dramatic career shift and then just go start doing something else that we weren't doing before. Because my wife had been like executive admin, property managers. She had kind of been in that more like corporate business role where like you're keeping communications to whoever the CEO is or whoever the property owner is. And then she was like, but you know what? My biggest passion is like skincare. And I was like, because she used to make homemade facials. Like she put like honey and cinnamon and I don't know, all kind of stuff, you know, and then be trying them on me and peeling them off. And she was brave enough because she was good at the property management. She was good at being executive. It's not like she switched because that wasn't working. That just wasn't her calling.
Right.
And she answered the bell, went back to school. And not only did she open up one business, she opened up two. And I always grew like great admiration from my wife for that. Because you know how a lot of people are like, they're like, if something is not broken, why fix it? Well, I wasn't broken, you know. I didn't, not that you were broken, but you know what I mean? Like I didn't have a kidney issue.
Right.
But it fixed me doing this. And it fixed me in a perspective on life. And I had seen my wife thrive in being uncomfortable. That had prepared me that when this came, when you told me you needed a kidney, I knew it was said to me.
Right.
Like, although there were multiple of us at the table, and some of you all could probably understand this, if you've ever been in a situation where someone says something, but you're in a group, but you know that those words are meant for you.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing I'll say to people is, have you guys ever been in a meeting? If so, comment below. You've been in a work meeting and you got a good idea,
Mm-hmm.
and you know you should say it, but then you.
Right.
And my wife had this idea that she was going, and I remember her saying, I'm going to step out on faith. I'm going to believe it. I'm going to step out on faith. And what I learned from her is about faith was she didn't halfway do it.
Right.
She
350%.
did it.
Wow.
And when they called me and told me to come in,
Mm-hmm.
I knew I was gonna.
Mm-hmm.
I was gone. Remember, I hit you up. I was like,
Right.
look at these piss buckets I gotta fill up. You know?
Right.
But I would say my wife with her business, man, having a son, you know, like, I know, a huge reason I know about faith is to send your child out in the world today.
Yeah, man. That's
You
so
better
true.
have faith.
Right.
There are school shootings,
Mm-hmm.
drunk drivers. I mean, you could be scared of everything in the world. If you didn't have faith, you could keep your son in,
Right.
homeschool him only, don't let him leave nowhere. He'd be
Mhm.
running around the house wearing Halloween costumes all year. You know how some of them kids are.
Right.
But having a son led to faith, and I'm gonna tell you the last one that led to faith that I don't never tell anybody. It's gonna be, I never even told you,
Oh, wow.
is that like, I have failed so many times personally
Mm-hmm.
that all the failures, all whatever lies I've ever told, whatever corners I've ever cut, it built up my faith because I know what failure looks like.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm not scared of it anymore.
Right.
I know what it's like to lose. I know what it's like to fall off, if some people would say, like to be here and then have to be here. I know what it's like to make X amount of money and then have to go to a new career and make a lesser X amount of money. I know what it's like to lose.
Right.
And because I've lost so much in my life, I now have the faith
Mm-hmm.
to run into that burning building
Mm-hmm.
because I can deal with the burns.
Right.
And life taught me. But more specifically, having a wife and son, without them two,
Mm-hmm.
it's 100% chance this doesn't happen.
Wow. See, so everyone, sometimes we have these experiences, day-to-day experiences, and whether we get in our car and we drive down the street, whether we get on a plane and we take a plane flight. I mean, even I know this even sounds minute, but even, drinking a glass of water out of the faucet, is the faith that when we always not cognizant of anything happening to us, whether, if we go down the street and some crazy man comes out of the corner and hits us on the side, those are small, factors of faith that we don't think on a larger basis that we use every day. And for those of you who are potential donors and are wondering, is my faith being tested? Your faith is being tested all the time on a minute to minute, hour to hour basis, daily. And for those of you who are really
That is so true.
thinking about it, you got to remember that if you're able to get through a day-to-day basis, you'll be able to get through what you need to when you become a donor. Just remember that that person who is a patient who's on dialysis has the same faith that you have that every day they're going to be able to wake up. Every day that they're going to be healthy. Every day they're going to be able to take care of their families, their kids, those type of things. Shauna, and that leads me to my next question. Why was it so important for you to have faith before that surgery?
So there's a lot of reasons. And one of the big reasons why faith was so important is because that is the only source of energy that you need. It's the only source of energy.
Right.
Like the artificial things that this world gives us for energy,
Right.
Red Bull,
Right.
or some people a beer, wine, whatever. Like, oh, I want to have a good time. So you know what energy I'm gonna have? I'm gonna drink me a glass of wine. All of that fades.
Yeah.
But when you're doing something as big as donating a kidney,
Right.
you need that long-term energy, like that forever energy.
Right.
And faith was so important to me because I knew you were looking at me.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew my son was looking at me, and I knew my wife was looking at me. But more importantly, faith was so important because faith comes from the same person who told me to do it.
That's right. That's right.
So, like, imagine if your parent was going to pay for your wedding. You'd want to get their blessing, right?
Right.
Because they're paying for the wedding.
Right.
So, if God is giving me this opportunity, well, I'm gonna go seek the blessing, the faith.
That's right.
To do it. And I knew, because look, y'all, in anything in life, don't let nobody paint stuff for you rosy.
That's right.
It's not easy.
Nope.
It's not meant to be easy. Ease is the greatest threat to success.
Right.
Ease is the greatest threat to success. If you wake up every day and you go, you know what? My life is pretty easy. You're not doing nothing. Trust me, you're not doing nothing. And so I needed the faith to have the courage so that I could have the stamina,
Right.
have the willpower. Here we are on a Sunday morning at like 8:30 in a downtown beautiful location,
Right.
doing our podcast, and only faith.
Right. Led us to this.
So that's my real answer of why faith was so important to me, because it's a long lasting energy. There's nothing temporary about this.
Right. Some of you have to reminisce on your prior experiences that have led you to faith, and faith has led you to being rewarded. And there's so many rewards beyond having faith. It could be, having a child. It could be, having a job. It could be your first home. It could be the first car you purchased. It could be going to school, getting that first A. It could be the relationships that you got into, that person that you love. There's so many things that you have benefited from in stepping out on faith. And so that leads me to my next question for Sean. Sean, how has not only this experience, but moving through faith, how has that been a reward to you?
That's a loaded question. I used to think before that like the meaning of life was to be successful, be happy,
Right.
Find the career you want.
Right.
And then it hit me that like, man, the meaning of life is answering that voice.
Yes.
That is the meaning of life. Is do you have the courage that when that thing inside of you and you do it then.
It's talking to you.
Because I'm gonna tell you, this experience has just showed me that we downtown. But this experience has showed me for sure. Sorry about our brief commercial break. We had downtown was being downtown.
Oh yeah.
But you know, to get back on track, this has changed me so much because one, I have a greater appreciation for medicine. Like, a lot of you, I know the way I grew up, and I love my dad. This ain't nothing negative towards my dad. We didn't go to the doctor.
Right.
I mean, you did if something was happening,
Right.
but we didn't go to the doctor just to get a checkup.
Right.
We didn't go.
Right.
And this has changed my life where I'll tell my wife, baby, go there, go schedule an appointment,
Yeah.
schedule an appointment, you know, or I'll get my son checked out now.
Right.
Because I learned, and this is for so many of you out there that are maybe scared, maybe you have something inside of you you feel is wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're like, oh man, my heart's been kind of fluttering lately.
Wait a minute. Can I real quick? This is
Sure.
This is a Sean moment. Now, for those of you, and I'm talking about, you know, my brothers and sisters. For those of you who are so scared and so intimidated about going to the doctor, look. Don't shorten your life over silliness. Go to the doctor, seek medical attention, get help, and have that faith. Because I'm telling you, there are a lot of us who, unfortunately, do not benefit from the things that are out there that will help us with longevity, living a healthy life, being successful, and part of that is to be medically and health-wise successful and healthy.
Can I say something real quick?
Yeah.
I hear this a lot of times from a lot of people. They say, well, when my aunt went to the doctor and they diagnosed her, then she died. This is with love. It's because your aunt went to the doctor when it was too late.
That's right.
And that's why you hear a lot of stories about somebody saying, man, as soon as they found out they had cancer, then they died. Yeah, because they went to the doctor when it was stage 99.
Right.
And it doesn't mean we can't, we're all gonna go at some point in time. We're
right.
all gonna go.
That's right.
So that's not saying just because you go super early,
Right.
you're not going to still go. We all have the potential
Right.
to go. But the earlier you go, now that I have been part of a process,
That's right. Sean,
you
if it
can
hadn't,
move a mountain.
amen. If it hadn't been for me going to the doctor, finding out that I had these illnesses,
You'd be gone.
I would be gone.
Oh, you'd be gone.
If I hadn't been treated for the illnesses as time progressed, ladies and gentlemen, I had been sick off and on for over 8 to 10 years. Prior to that, I didn't even know I was sick. I had just been going through life with no knowledge. Thank God, number one, I got a job that allowed me to have health benefits so
Go
that I
get your
could.
education, kids.
That's right.
Kids, adults,
Please.
pets.
Yes.
Go get your education. Because, I know we're talking about faith,
Right.
but we're going to have to take a shift.
Okay.
Y'all keep faith. There you go. You heard it. The education is so important because once you go to school and you're around other people, because that's the thing about college nobody tells you. It's being around other people.
That's right.
And you start to find out, you get that exposure, you start to find out, oh wait, there's opportunity.
Right.
You sit next to somebody in a science class and they tell you that they're being a dentist, but you going to school just for art. There's nothing wrong with art. But then you might be like, ooh, and what do you got to do to be a dentist?
Right.
And you start to find out, and then you find other people who start to tell you, yeah, my mom was sick and she made it.
Right.
I was sick, y'all, and I made it.
Right.
Now you can
Was sick.
tell people and
Yes.
you made it.
Yes.
And when you get that education, you start to put yourself around a different
Right.
group of people that, because they have the knowledge
Right.
and because they have good careers like we do,
Right.
they went to the doctor.
That's right.
So they got a whole bunch of success stories.
That's right.
So when you tell them you're sick, they don't talk to you like that's a
No.
death sentence.
No.
They go, oh, well, did you look at Mayo Clinic?
Right.
Did you look at Andrews?
Right.
Did you look at, because they've heard it before. And this leads us to sometimes why your faith can be in
Right.
Christ.
That's right.
The circle. We say this every video, but it's truer than true.
That's right.
The circle you are around. Because I'm going to be honest with you. There have been times in my life where I was in poverty. Extreme poverty. So I ain't talking from a level of being too good.
Right.
Oh, I've been broke as
Both
a joke
of us.
before.
Oh,
we,
both of us.
we both been broke. We
Yeah.
used to live in
Oh,
apartments
yes,
right by
that's
each other.
right.
Being broke is a
Right.
joke. And when you are broke, there's a good chance that the people around you make plus or minus $1 an hour from you.
That's right.
Y'all all broke. And you get sick and they'll be like,
Right. Now, Sean, don't get me wrong. I don't want to get it twisted, because being broke doesn't necessarily mean that you're not necessarily happy. But it also means, though, that the concept of being broke also means, are you seeking to live a better lifestyle? Are you seeking, to be healthier? Are you seeking
that
to
is
be
so
financially
powerful. Yeah,
Yeah.
because you know what? That's true.
healthy? Right.
What we're saying is not necessarily broke, like not $1 to your name, but you should be doing more,
Right.
and you're not doing it. So
Right.
not necessarily broke, more broke in.
Right.
And
Again, going back to faith, stepping out on faith again. We have this broadcast, ladies and gentlemen, because we love you. We don't know you, but we love you. And we want to see you. For those of you who are suffering, for those of you who have ailments, for those of you who are struggling financially, for those of you, whatever you're doing.
because we've been there.
Because we've been there. And this podcast, the purpose of this is to help you understand that, one, you have someone who's been through it, and then two, you have someone who's also been through it but has helped another to survive through it.
Because
Okay?
we know where y'all have been.
Yes.
We have been there where the apartment is due when you stretch it to the
Man.
third at midnight.
the third?
You
talking about the fifth
No,
and
no,
the
no,
sixth?
no, no, I was about to say. And they knock on your door and everybody gotta get quiet.
Right.
We have, so when we're, man, I know growing up, that bill collector would call, my mom would be like, tell him I'm in the shower. Tell them I'm at work. No, they ask me for some money.
Right.
Tell them I'm at work.
You said everybody,
Yeah.
just y'all get out.
So it's not like we're saying it from an area of ridicule.
Right.
We've been there, but when we were there,
Uh-huh.
we had friends that would tell us stuff like, "Oh, you sick?
Yeah.
Oh,
And I'm not mentioning any of friends, but I had a friend one time to say, and also be mindful of the folks that you're around and the things that you say sometimes, because your words are powerful. And when someone's going through something,
encourage.
yeah, be very encouraging,
Because you could bury somebody
Yeah.
before their time.
yes, and people that are in a very vulnerable moment in their life, and I can say this because I've been there.
Sure.
We are not only vulnerable, but we are sensitive. You may not see it visually. We may mask it very well, but we listen, and those type of things, we need as much encouragement when we're going through that. That any small thing, sometimes even larger things, sometimes we can, shrug it off like water on a duck's back. But sometimes those things penetrate and infiltrate, and then
and then they
really-
become part of
Yes.
your DNA.
It does.
Cause then you now walking around thinking, man, does everybody think I look bad?
Right,
You know,
right.
somebody walks into you and goes, man, you look bad.
Man, and we talked about this in the prior podcast. Sometimes, man, we start to condemn ourselves. Did we do this to ourselves?
Oh,
Did
could we say one thing?
Yeah.
If somebody is sick, this is a big one.
Uh-huh.
Hair. Because I have seen, and it's happened to me. You know,
Right.
you're sick and you're losing your hair,
Uh-huh.
and then somebody's like, ooh,
What's going on with you? Yeah.
man, that'll make you wear, well, you will find every baseball cap in the world. You will.
Right.
Or like you'll get certain haircuts, you'll just think different.
Right.
It'll turn into an insecurity. You know, like, and this has nothing to do with being sick, but remember that big old gap I used to have? I had a big gap in my teeth. Y'all, I had a Michael Strahan. I'm talking about. I don't know how the camera's seeing this, but
Right.
gap. And I used to always think it made me different, right?
Right.
And man, I remember getting to the military and I'm in boot camp and he used to call me slot machine. and then it started to bother me.
Right.
Like, then it started to bother me. And that's not saying boot camp, they shouldn't make fun of you, they should. But if I wasn't even sick and that bothered me, imagine if the gap tooth had been
Amen.
because somebody knocked out a tooth.
That's right.
Or because I had a gum disease, or because I had a. So when you see somebody,
Encourage them.
man, and look, how about this? Just encourage people in general.
Right.
Now, I don't want to. I'm trying to be a better person, y'all. I'm not asking you to encourage stupidity.
Right.
Now, if you know somebody should go to the doctor and they don't never go, I'm not saying you tell them, well, it's all right, maybe you go tomorrow. Sometimes you got to pick a friend up
That's right.
and say, we're going to the doctor.
Right.
What did you say? Pick up your mat and,
And
walk.
Yes. Yes. And here's the thing is, you know, I had a friend, again, another friend, who encouraged me. Sometimes he knew how to encourage me. Sometimes, you know, he was just really cutting, you know, he didn't cut to the chase. He was black and white.
Right.
You know what? You need to take your something to the doctor and get seen, you know. And that's a good thing. Sometimes we need it like that. Sometimes we need someone to just say, Marshall, I'm taking you to the doctor. You know, this is ridiculous. You sitting around being sick and being hurt and not, you know, seeking help. It's crazy. And some of you need that. Some of you need somebody.
And sometimes that's how the faith kicks in.
Right.
This is a good point. You can help somebody with their faith
That's right.
by saying, I believe in you. I believe you're going to be okay. We're going to the doctor.
Right.
Because sometimes your faith is built by somebody else having faith in you.
Yeah.
And I tell you,
Mm-hmm.
this is an important part. The secret sauce to my faith was that when I was broke, didn't have any money,
Mm-hmm.
was in a circle with other people
Right.
that were talking crazy, somebody had the faith in me and told me you could be more than this. And this is when he wasn't sick. He told me you could be more than this. If Marshall, look, I have family members tell me this. The military ain't for our people. I had somebody say that to me. I had somebody say, what if you get killed? What if you get killed? I had another person say to me, why don't you come work downtown with me at the city? You just put on a uniform, sit next to me.
Right.
You was one of the very few, and rest in peace to my pop H, but the very few that said, man, I was in the Army, you could do it.
Right.
Go on, join the military, man, you could do it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what, I'm going to the gym at 5:30, you join me.
Right.
So the reason I say that is, when I couldn't see a way out, when I thought my time was running up, and I'm barely making any money, and I'm getting these little weekend warrior checks,
Mm-hmm.
and This is a man that told me, you need to go full-time, active duty, and get your life together. I'm not here if he doesn't, because again, boy, the Lord done crossed our paths so many times. I'm living in the apartment next to him, and I didn't even know he lived in that apartment.
Right.
And when I was down, he could have put a foot on my throat and said, man, guess what? You ain't got no degree. You don't make no money. You ain't gonna be. But he didn't. You know, he didn't. And he encouraged me. And I thank God I got to pay it forward. That at a time when he felt down, at a time when he didn't know what tomorrow was gonna bring,
right.
like y'all heard on the last video, in this space-time continuum where like
That stops.
the time just stopped for him.
Yeah.
That I was able to, just how he did me, say, nah, you can go active duty again. You can start to live your life again. Here, this is all you need.
Right.
And I say that because, y'all, Marshall was there for me when it wasn't advantageous for him. There was no benefit for him.
That's right.
And I was there for him when it wasn't advantageous for me. I didn't get anything in return. We didn't want anything in return but to see the other person do better. And I challenge you to look at the people you're with right now and
That's
say, would they help me even if it wasn't advantageous for them?
Wow. That's a huge.
Ask yourself that. Because my wife is going through that. You know, owning a business is tough. And I see her every day just do things for others without seeking anything in return. You know, she took care of me. I'm one kidney, you know, wobbling everywhere. I need help to go to the bathroom. When it was over, she didn't say, well, now that I did all that for you, when are we going to Cancun? She just took care of me. And you gotta ask yourself, y'all, if you wanna build your faith, I know two ways. One, believe in something bigger than you.
That's right.
Believe in something bigger than you. And number two, find people around you that believe there's something inside of you bigger than you. Because what's funny is, we have a hard time with faith.
That's right.
But I tell you this, comment down below if you ever got on an elevator and hit pause and climbed up on top of the elevator and made sure that the pulley system was working. Have you even ever got in the elevator and checked the registration date to make sure the inspector? Nobody does. You get in the elevator and fourth floor, ninth floor.
Right.
We don't check.
No, we just get in there with the faith that it's gonna work.
So see, you will believe in what another man built, but you won't believe in you.
That's right.
Have faith.
That's right.
That's what we're telling you. We know there's somebody watching right now that is questioning themselves like, can I do this? I'm thinking about a new career. I'm thinking about stopping this bad behavior or whatever. Be your own elevator.
Well, Sean, you know, you answered my last question, which I was gonna ask. What would you tell the folks out there who are having wavery faith? And you just answered it. And so for that reason, y'all, we appreciate you.
Oh,
Love you.
gratitude.
And we thank you for another successful podcast.
Thank you so much.
Good job, man. You didn't even let me get the last question. You didn't even let me get the last
I didn't even know that's what the question was going to ask.
The last one was, what would you tell folks with wavery faith? And you just,
It's true, man.
you went right into it.
You gotta look at that circle and look at yourself.
That is wonderful, man. That's wonderful. That's true because, you know, it's crazy. I have encircled myself around really good people, and I thank God that He's brought me really successful. And I hope and pray that I continue to get people who motivate me to do the right thing as time progresses.
Boy, this was good.
Man, you did great, man. You did a good job, man. You did a good
We
job.
both did.